Welcome to Coach's Corner, everybody. Thanks for watching the show on this Saturday, actually recording it on Friday. I'm your host, Paul Tripoli, Coach Trip. To my players, where I'm back in the arena, Billy, after 6-year hiatus, semi-retirement. I'm back coaching again, Pensacola High School. I'm so excited about it. How you doing, buddy?
I'm hanging in there. I'm up in Tuscaloosa right now and, enjoying the campus right now.
Oh, my gosh, folks, we're talking with Billy Getchel, former Bama wide receiver, walk-on like myself. We got a lot of things in common. Not too many New Yorkers and Bama connections like we have, Billy.
No, it was great when I got down here to finally find somebody that was from New York.
Actually, I think in 1984 we might have set a record with you, me, and Todd Richardson, all from the state of New York on the Alabama roster. I don't think that's ever been done before. But, man, let's start from the beginning so our audience can get to know you a little bit. You grew up in Queens, New York. Tell everybody about your mom and dad and siblings and growing up in the city.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Queens, New York, an apartment complex, 3-bedroom apartment complex with 5 children. I have 2 older sisters and a brother and a sister that are younger. So we were pretty crammed into a 3-bedroom apartment living on the 4th floor. But it was a lovely apartment complex where there was like 900 families in it. So there was plenty of young kids running around.
Always playing outside. You had to be in by dark, right?
Yeah. Or you heard your parents yelling out the window, calling your name to get home.
Now, everybody, I don't know if they realize down here, but this big cities, New York, Syracuse, a lot of the big cities, they had ethnic neighborhoods. Was there more Italians, or was it a mix of everybody, Irishmen? Was it a mix of everybody, or was it mainly Italians?
It was my apartment complex was a mix. There was Irish, there was Italian, there was some black, there was some. Every group had a little bit of something around. Asians. It was a nice mix. It was a nice place to grow up into.
Your brothers and sisters, were any of them really good athletes, or were you the best athlete in the group?
I was probably the best athlete. My brother played baseball. He's about 3 years behind me. He played baseball in high school, but never any further than that.
Well, how did you get to Alabama, man? Tell the story on how you did you have a contact? I know Joe Riccardi was the pivotal cog in me getting to Alabama. And who helped you get there? Did Joe Namath have a part in it?
Yeah, he did. It's a little bit of a strange story. I had a friend of mine that was an older gentleman who worked for Joe Namath, and in the area that I grew up in, Queens, we played a lot of CYO touch football. There were a lot of different leagues. There were some money leagues around that the older guys played in, and they were short players one day. This was when I was in high school, and they asked me to play with them in a heavy money league, and so my friend Wayne Little played on that team, and after he saw me playing, he said, "You should just you should try walking on at Alabama." And I just kind of looked at him, sheepishly, and said, "Yeah, that would be fun." And what he did is he went back to his office. He talked to Joe. Joe gave him the contacts to who to get in touch with. Coach Gary White, if anybody remembers that name.
Oh, yeah.
And I was still in school up in New York, and so I ended up putting in an application. It kind of evolved. It kind of took a life of its own. So I got an application I put it in. I got accepted. And then the next thing I knew, I was in a plane down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And, I hadn't played high school ball. I just played, touch football in these leagues around Queens. Um, and, the rest is, I guess, kind of history.
Oh my gosh, man! You never played high school football, and then what year was it? Your first year at Alabama?
My first year was 1982.
Okay, so
And
you were 82 through 85, was it?
yeah.
Okay, I know
Uh,
you played a lot in 84.
yeah. Well, actually, no. My last year was 84.
Yeah, 84.
Well,
Yeah, our senior year.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did end up playing a lot that year. But my first year, I wasn't sure if I was able to play wide receiver at Alabama. So the first year, my first semester, I kind of went on defense and tried to play corner, which I did okay, but there were a lot of things that you had to know in high school football to really understand what was going on, and I didn't have that knowledge.
Right.
So
Right.
at the end of that semester was Coach Bryant's last semester.
Okay.
He retired, and then Coach Perkins came in.
Right.
So that whole semester, I was really playing defense, but I was, they were just using me as a blocking dummy.
Yeah, I'll probably hit you a few times. I don't
Oh yeah,
remember you coming over to the DB circle, man. I don't remember that. I just
yeah,
remember you as a wide receiver. Oh my gosh. Well, you graduated and then you went back to New York.
yeah. I actually in 1986, I tried out for the New York Jets, but got released just before the season started.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, so I hadn't, and once I at that point in time, um, I figured that my football days were over.
Yeah, 170-pound wide receiver, 175-pound wide
Yeah,
receiver.
exactly.
Yeah, run 4.6. It's probably those days are over. Well,
Yeah.
what line of business did you go back home and get into?
When I went back home to New York, I did a couple of different things, but I became a teacher, and then I coached football at St. John's University for 10 years.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and then they decided to fold the program at that time, and then so I took a high school coaching job in Long Island, New York, and coached there for 10 years.
Oh, wow, Billy. Man, how did you guys do and who did you learn from? Did you learn? I mean, my college coach at Alabama was better than my pro coaches. I
Yeah,
mean, he knew the techniques and he knew every nuance. So everything that I've taught in coaching high school football for 20 years, I learned from my college coach. Who was influential with you at Alabama, your wide receiver coaches?
um, Coach Felker was Coach Rocky Felker was he kind of took me under his wing and kind of taught me a lot of things that I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
uh, from not playing high school ball.
Yep.
So he
All
would
right.
probably be one of the main guys that I would say he'd probably the major guy that I kind of he took under my wing.
Yeah, Joey Jones. You used to watch Joey Jones too. He was your buddy there at
Yeah,
Bama.
yeah. Joey and I were good friends. Yeah,
Man,
he was a great wide receiver.
man, he
Uh,
was fast and tough and smart. He had all of it, didn't he? Except for size. Coach Bryant called him Little Big Man.
yeah, I'll tell you, he was a little guy, but he was a man amongst boys when he was out on the field.
Oh my God, man! I had to turn my hips at 4 yards instead of three with that dude with a four
Yeah.
three, 4-3 mentality, and me a 4-5. All right, how many New Yorkers have you turned into Bama fans? I mean,
Oh,
when you tell the story going to Alabama and playing, they probably look at you cross-eyed and say you're crazy. But how many people have you turned in? And your daughters, you have two daughters. How many Bama fans have your daughters turned in?
oh yeah. We had I've had I think we've had about 6 or 8 people that have looked in and come down and have graduated from the University of Alabama that I kind of talked into
Oh,
looking into the campus. Once when I was up in New York.
wow.
Um, yeah, there's plenty of them that have come down, and I just gave them an idea, and then once they get down on campus here, they kind
Yeah.
of fall in love with it, especially up in New York.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful open campus, and up in New York you have, well, where I'm from, you have Fordham University, and you have a lot of the other St. John's University and the other smaller colleges, Queens College and uh, small university, like they all have walls around the campus, and it's not an open campus. So a lot of the people that we know, are used to seeing a campus like that. But once they get
Yeah.
down here and just see the openness of the campus and how inviting it is, they kind of fall in love with it.
Have both your daughters graduated now from Bama?
No, I had one that graduated 2 years ago. She's a nurse. Her
Uh-huh.
name's Getchel, and she is in North Carolina right now as a nurse in the emergency room over in University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I have a junior here at the University of Alabama right now.
Oh wow! I think she works with my former wife Dana in the Mary Kay business, I believe.
Yes, she does.
Awesome,
She's
awesome.
into all that social media and makeup.
All right, so when we were going to school there, I thought I could remember you talking about the dream of having an Italian ice shop and coffee shop right in Tuscaloosa, right on the strip, right where all the students can go, right where all the action is, all the pom pom and circumstance happens on the strip. You get to share and get to stay young, hanging around college kids. Talk about opening your Rita's Italian Ice and PJ's coffee shop there on the strip, Billy. How did that come about? And I think I remember you talking to me when we were in school, how cool that would be. Is it a 40-year dream for you to open that up?
Yeah, yeah, that's when I was down here, I grew up on Italian ice, and the heat and humidity down here is pretty rough sometimes. So I thought that would just be a nice thing to have, a nice small shop here on the strip. And I kept that idea in my head for 40 years until my wife just turned to me and said, "All right, what are we doing up in New York? We knew the girls were gonna be down here
Yeah.
for an extended period of time." And I had mentioned to her that I had an Italian ice idea down here, and she said, "All right, let's look into it." The next thing you know, we're looking around for who can distribute down here and what would be a good store to open. And we came up with Rita's Italian Ice and Frozen Custard. So we went and talked with them and bought a franchise. And then we looked for a place on the strip, which we couldn't find a place in 2018. It wasn't until 2020 when I guess we were in the middle of COVID and some stores started closing down. And
Mhm.
this place on the corner right here on 12th and University came available. It was a clothing store. It was Expeditions clothing store at the time.
Uh-huh.
And they were closing down their place on the strip. It became available, but it was way too big to have just an Italian ice store.
Right.
So I kind of looked up and down the strip and I said, what can the students use here that, would benefit them along with an Italian ice? And I saw that at the time, there was no coffee shop here on the strip. So I kind of looked into what kind of franchises would make a good fit here on campus. and I came up with PJ's Coffee of New Orleans. I thought it was nice connection with New Orleans. Everybody from Alabama and
Mm-hmm.
Tuscaloosa area have been
Yep.
down there. I figured they might have been familiar with it if they stopped in one. So my wife and I took a trip down to New Orleans and talked to them, PJ's, and the next thing you know, we bought a franchise for PJ's.
Oh my gosh, Billy. What a dream come true, man. After all those years, get to spend so much time in T-Town. How much time do you get to spend down there, and how often do you go back to New York?
Yeah, I'm down here on a regular basis pretty much now. I get
Yeah.
back up to New York maybe 4 times a year.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it's few and far between them getting up to New York. So, but being down here is a nice, quiet, relaxing
Yeah.
time to be down here, as opposed when I go up to New York, it's a lot of hustle and bustle again.
Man, when I got off the plane in Birmingham, I thought I was 8 miles from the sun. It was so hot in that August 1980. I didn't know where Alabama was on the map, for crying out loud, Billy. We didn't know. When we opened our mouths, everybody made fun of us down there. That was the thing to do. We were just Yanks. How many times did you? I mean, every coach, every player called me Yank or Yankee. I just couldn't believe the North-South, talk down in the South, because it didn't happen much up north. But how did you adjust it? I did it with humor, man. I had Preston Gothard was my first roommate, man. You couldn't have got more odd couple than Preston Gothard from Montgomery and me from New York. But he was so funny that he just, everything, we just laughed at everything. We laughed at our indifferences.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, treated me very, very well. But they did make fun of my accent. They did kid me about being from New York, and I took it like a champ. I was happy that they were conversing with me and not me off. Nobody ever. They actually more helped me out than they did anything. But yeah, it was a different time. Like right now down campus, nobody even knows where you're from. There's so many people from different areas
Right.
here that it's just kind of a melting pot. But you knew back then who was from the South and who was not from the South.
I tell people I'm from New York. They thought I was from Queens or Bronx or somewhere, and I was really upstate. But I was Italian, and my family was in waste management, so they drew a lot of conclusions on those three facts.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I kind of used it.
Tripoli also.
Oh yeah, I played along with it like it was really a thing when it really was. It is so funny. You give you an offer you can't refuse. You don't let me in. Let me in the door. Let me in. My name's Lanny Patrick. Remember Lanny?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, have you met Coach DeBoer?
I have not met him yet. No, I have seen him a few times, but he and I have not met yet.
Your coffee shop and your yogurt and Italian ice. You are in Bryant-Denny Stadium. You're in Coleman Coliseum. You're in the baseball stadium, the softball stadium. I saw you. Those have been really busy this year, especially basketball. How's your kiosk going?
Yeah, it's going well. A lot of people have taken to it. They actually come now looking for it at the different venues we're at. So it's exciting. The kids are enjoying it, and especially with baseball doing so well, and basketball was tremendous this year.
Yeah.
Softball's always a big hit.
Right.
We opened up over at soccer also, and volleyball. So along with football too. So
what's been the feeling on campus of the basketball Final Four? What's been the students' reaction? And I heard there's going to be a watch party at Coleman Coliseum. Is that right, for the basketball game? And You're gonna have your kiosks in there. But what's been the what's been the talk on campus about the basketball team?
Yeah, and everybody is excited without a doubt. It's exciting to be in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people are apprehensive. They just they don't want to get too crazy. They don't want to get too confident, especially going up against the defending national champs. Um, but everybody's all excited. The place is going to be, it's going to be really really alive on Saturday night here.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna pack that place and watch it? That's gonna be exciting. Yeah. What time? Well, times if they do they sell tickets? Are they what's going
No,
on?
I think it's open to the students. They are opening gates, I believe, at 7 o'clock. Game's supposed to start here at 7:49. So, and yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's great when you have a big area where a lot of people are together rooting for the same thing. It's
Yeah.
gonna almost be like a basketball game.
Tuscaloosa is just getting combobbled. Next week, I'll see you next week, buddy. I'm coming up to T-Town, and me and Phil Quigley will stop by and see him, my old baseball buddy. We're going to try to go over and see Rodney Orr too.
Ah,
We'll try. Yeah, we'll try. We'll all go over there and see Rodney. I talked to him this week. He's going to be on the show next week, the founder of Tighter Insider. So stay tuned next week for Rodney Orr. He's an amazing story. I'm just finishing his book. I got a few chapters left in his book, Bigger Than Bama. And man, God tested him in his life, didn't he?
yeah. And
Ooh.
Rodney was
Ooh.
probably that. Rodney gave me a bit of an understanding when I first got here about how fanatical football fans, Alabama football fans are, and it was just I just couldn't believe that he knew everything and wanted to know more.
Yeah.
And every time I came off the practice field, I'd see him in the dorms, and he would come over to me and asking me about what went on today and who was doing this and and his dream was to do what he's doing now,
Yes.
way back in college. I mean, he
Yes.
always had that idea. He loved Alabama football since he was, I think, 6 years old.
In Texas,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, he fell in love with him in Corpus Christi, Texas. Yeah,
yeah,
he was amazing, man. He's still that way. He still loves Bama football 40 years later. He reached his dream. You reached your dream. I'm doing what I love, man. And man, it's just so cool that all of those buddies back then in school have reached all of our dreams. He's got an amazing story, so it's going to be on next week. I had guys, like you said, when I got to Bama, it was very, very, very different culturally. But I had guys in my corner, great teammates. Preston Gothard, Jimmy Watts, David Muncher, Johnny Lombardo, all those guys became good friends of mine. And who was your running mate? I know you and Joey Jones ran around together. Who was your other best buddy at Bama?
yeah. One day I was down in Bryant Hall and watching in the TV room, and you know Mike White and Doug Vickers were roommates, and they said, come on up to our room, and I walked up in there, and they said, yeah, we have a TV in here. You can watch whatever you want in here, and they kind of took me under their wing at that time,
Oh man,
and
two great guys, man.
yeah,
You talk about accomplished, successful, overachieving guys. My gosh, Mike White. All right, he's a Navy SEAL and been successful in everything he did. I love the Mike White. I had Mike White on a few months ago, and man, he was just special. Him and I were captains of the Iron Bowl, against Bo Jackson in '84. And
yeah.
we didn't have a great year, but we did go out a winner and win that last game. Was that your favorite memory, winning in the Iron Bowl? I know you had some catches during the year, but talk about your that last year we had.
Yeah, that last year was exciting for me. I mean, I just was going through that year as normal, but I didn't realize until later on how special it was. We didn't have a great season, but to me, that was a dream. Like I said, that was a dream season, a dream come true. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
played a lot. I had some catches.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the field
Yep.
against Penn State. I was on the field, against Auburn. These are Tennessee. I had a couple of great catches against Tennessee.
Yeah.
These are when I talk about them, people from New York, they don't really understand that it might be true. Because I'm from New York, and there's no way that I did all this stuff down here in Alabama. But then I have a few pictures that I show them and a few videos that I show them. So,
oh my God, isn't that amazing, man? And those dreams come true, and you play at that level when you had no. Because there's a lot of walk-ons that we saw them; they come through. There's 85 guys on scholarship. Really, 35 to 40 actually play. So the majority of guys that are on scholarship never get to play, let alone the walk-ons, man. It's just a sense of accomplishment, man. So proud of you and all the boys and all the walk-ons that made it. Todd Richardson from my old high school took my number 23 at Bama, who I was honored and really lucky to get it from Benny Perrin. God rest his soul, Benny Perrin.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, what a time in our lives, man. Do you have any advice for coaches that are listening out there that might have a ball player that doesn't get a scholarship like we did, but still has dreams of playing in front of 10 million and 100,000 in the stands? Do you have any advice for coaches or young players?
Yeah. Well, listen, my thought process is if you feel you want to play, then you keep playing for as long as your body, your mind will tell you when to stop. Mm-hmm. And you keep that dream alive until you turn around and say, okay, I've done enough here. Let me move on in life, or let me move to the next phase. But mm-hmm. My thought is if you got anybody, just find him a spot somewhere, let him live his dream and just go for it. You never know what could happen. There's too many stories around of people that came out of nowhere and did great things.
Absolutely, man. I'm so proud of you. I love you, buddy, man. I miss you. I will see you next weekend. I can't believe it.
Look forward to it, pal. It's going to be a great weekend.
I know, man. I can't wait. All right, buddy. See you next week. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
All right, bud. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Boy, he was awesome, man. What a great dude he is. Love him to death. Great story. Another walk-on makes it at Bama. Stay tuned for these messages. Without our great sponsors, this just wouldn't be possible. Have a great sports weekend, everybody. We'll see you next week. So long.
There's a reason why Hill Kelly in Pensacola is the #1 selling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram dealer between Jacksonville and New Orleans. While other dealers have taken advantage of a competitive market with higher prices, Hill Kelly has discounted prices to the lowest of the year. And Hill Kelly in Pensacola won't surprise you with excessive charges beyond the selling price. Come see why people from Milton, Pace, Foley, Bay Minette, Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and beyond are driving to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to buy their next new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram. At Hill Kelly, the bottom line price and your satisfaction are what really matter. So before you sign, check the bottom line and make the trip to Hill Kelly in Pensacola to see what true local ownership can do for you. At Hill Kelly Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Highway 29 in Car City, Pensacola. Or shop online 24/7 at hillkellydodge.com. When it comes to bottom line pricing, nobody beats a Hill Kelly deal. Nobody.
So hard to get you in the perfect BuickGMC.com. Looking for a better car buying experience? With a Step 1 Advantage from Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola, receive no-hassle market-based pricing or incentives by pre-ordering. Looking to sell or trade? Our dedicated team will even come to you. Plus, every vehicle sold at Step 1 supports local charities right in your neighborhood. Experience the Step 1 Advantage at Buick GMC, Fort Walton Beach, and Pensacola today.
Hey, Bill, some game, huh?
I haven't really noticed, Paul.
What? The biggest game of the year?
I've been looking over my insurance. Talk about problems I'm trying to figure out.
Well, do what I did. Call the Seiler Agency. They showed me what I needed and what I didn't. They even saved me money. Now, instead of worrying about my insurance, I can worry about the big game.
Contact the Seiler Agency at 476-7443 for all of your insurance needs. Your independent agent for home, auto, boat, RV, commercial, general liability, life, and sound investment strategies. Call 476-7443 today.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.
75 years of service in high tech today. It's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348. High tech is a term often applied to advanced services and products in today's marketplace. And today, glass is much more than a simple pane of brittle, see-through stuff we hit baseballs through when we were kids. Glass is now a product with unique flexibility in both performance and application. And Pensacola Glass Company is growing right along. That's Pensacola Glass Company at 433-8348.
Barnes Heating and Air is a proud sponsor of Alabama football, serving the entire Pensacola community for over 50 years. Barnes Heating and Air is passionate about providing customers with world-class air conditioning and heating repairs, sales, and installation. Barnes Heating and Air is family-owned, insured, and committed to quality. For a free estimate, call 478-0141. Barnes Heating and Air is #1 in customer service with service calls 7 days a week. Call Barnes Heating and Air 478-0141 and roll Tide.